Flooding in the Red River Basin is a historic problem. The cities of Fargo, Moorhead, West Fargo, and many other surrounding communities are at risk of flooding during extremely large flood events. During the past 110 years, the Fargo-Moorhead area has reached flood stage 48 times. In the past, the Army Corps of Engineers has helped the Fargo-Moorhead metro area defend against the effects of flooding through implementation of emergency measures, such as the construction of earthen levees. The downside to emergency measures is that they require many hours to construct and time to install, and once the flood has receded, the temporary measures need to be removed. The cities of Fargo and Moorhead requested that the Corps investigate the flooding problem and develop a possible solution for the area. The process has included many steps, and through scoping, public input, and solid engineering practices, a cost-effective solution was developed for the area. The most cost-effective solution for reducing the flood risk is a diversion channel that routes the water around the Fargo-Moorhead metro area. The proposed diversion project would greatly reduce the flood risk for the Fargo-Moorhead metro area. The Corps and the cities of Fargo and Moorhead, which are the two federally recognized project sponsors, would coordinate the construction of the project. Funds from federal, state, and local government sources would pay for the construction. It is important to note that even with a flood risk reduction project in place like the one being proposed, there will always be residual risks surrounding the communities that can be further reduced through zoning, building codes, insurance, and evacuation. Throughout the planning process, stakeholders like the Environmental Protection Agency, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, and the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources have been heavily involved. The Corps has hosted and attended many public meetings to develop the scoping documents and share the project concepts with the affected communities. Whenever possible, steps were taken to avoid, reduce, or mitigate for any impacts that the project may have to the social, economic, or the natural environment of the area.
The proposed diversion project, which would be constructed within North Dakota, is 36 miles long. The diversion inlet is approximately 4 miles south of the confluence of the Red and the Wild Rice rivers. To minimize downstream impacts, water would be staged upstream of the diversion. Staging water directly upstream of the diversion is the most effective storage within the basin. Additional water storage would occur within the storage cell. The storage cell would be located adjacent to the diversion and would store water when water levels within the diversion reach a certain elevation. Two gated control structures would be built, one on the Red River and the other on the Wild Rice River. These structures would never be completely shut, and water would always flow down the natural river channels. A detailed operational plan would be developed as part of the project. Two tieback levees would be constructed as part of the project. The tieback levees, a necessary feature for any diversion channel, would connect the banks of the diversion channel to high ground and will prevent flows from bypassing the diversion. One tieback levee will run from the Red River structure to high ground to the east in Minnesota, preventing floodwater from flowing overland to the north. Another tieback levee would parallel Highway 17 and would connect the diversion channel to high ground to the south, preventing floodwater from flowing overland to the west. As water is routed through the diversion, it would flow under the Cheyenne and Maple River aqueducts, which allow some of the water to flow in the natural channels. The lower Rush and Rush rivers would be entirely diverted by the diversion. The diversion would re-enter the Red River approximately 10.5 miles north of Fargo, near Georgetown, Minnesota. The Corps is committed to completing the Fargo-Moorhead study and obtaining a signed record of decision from the Corps Chief of Engineers by the end of 2011. Once the record of decision is signed, the project is forwarded to Congress for approval and funding, known as authorization and appropriations. Once the Corps has the approval and funding to proceed, the partners can continue on the final design for the diversion channel. Beginning on the north end of the project, construction would start at the earliest in the spring of 2013. From start to finish, the project would take approximately 8.5 years. The Army Corps of Engineers' #1 priority is public safety. The Corps, in cooperation with the cities of Fargo and Moorhead, are using innovative practices and leveraging both internal and external engineering expertise to complete its mission of providing a high level of risk reduction for the Fargo-Moorhead metro area. For more information on the risk reduction system in the Fargo-Moorhead area, please visit the website listed.